A must-see, Global Disasters of 2024.
Our climate is changing rapidly, and climate change isn't a future problem. It is a problem that we have to face here and now.
Climate change is here, it is terrifying, and it is just the beginning. The era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has arrived. Leaders must lead. No more excuses. There is simply no more time for that.
It is with some concern that we at the WMO once again sound the red alert on climate. There is a nearly 9 in 10 likelihood that at least 1 year between 2024 and 2028 will be the hottest on record, even hotter than 2023, which smashed all temperature records. We are on a record-breaking warming path.
In every country, on every continent, the climate emergency is taking hold.
We have 2 years to save the world. Who has 2 years to save the world? The answer is every person on this planet.
The summer of 2024 has been officially recorded as the hottest on Earth. Extreme weather events are increasingly becoming the norm worldwide. Scientists have attributed these rapid changes in our global climate to human activities. The following is a list of some of the most severe climate disaster events worldwide in 2024.
Part 3 of 4, July to September. July 2024. Wildfire in Sakha, Russia. At least 2 million hectares of forest destroyed.
Heat waves, western and southern United States. More than 142 million people under heat alerts, at least 28 heat-related deaths.
Floods and landslides, Sulawesi Island, Indonesia. At least 23 deaths, more than 130 affected.
Floods and landslides, Aulac, Vietnam. 11 deaths, 868 houses damaged, 4,747 hectares of rice and other crops flooded.
Floods, Dingzhang, Chongqing, China. 6 deaths, more than 10,000 residents evacuated and 40,000 people affected.
Flood and landslides, Nepal. 143 people died, more than 3,779 households displaced.
Floods, Assam, India. 117 deaths between June and July, more than 4,700,000 displaced.
Heavy rainfall, thunderstorms and lightning, Uttar Pradesh State, India. 54 fatalities, 250,000 people displaced and 1,800,000 affected.
Floods, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh, India. 464,532 people affected and 3,638 houses damaged, 117 deaths between June and July.
Floods, southern Ontario, Canada. Over $706 million in costs.
Floods and landslides, Kyrgyzstan. Akbura River overflow. 5 people died, 450 displaced and almost 3,000 affected.
Floods, Guinea. Several individuals injured and 19,195 people affected.
Landslides, Wayanad District, Kerala, India. 270 people died, 214 injured and more than 8,500 evacuated.
Landslides, Ethiopia. 257 deaths, over 15,500 affected.
Heatwaves, Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, France and Morocco. At least 23 fatalities.
Droughts, Sicily and Sardinia, Italy. Estimated damage, €2.7 billion.
Wildfires, Brazil. 11,434 fire hotspots detected in the Amazon rainforest, the highest during the month of July in almost 2 decades.
Wildfires, Bulgaria. 7,703 hectares burned, 100 potentially affected.
Wildfires, Thompson Fire, California, United States. 1,200 hectares burned, 13,000 people forced to evacuate.
Wildfires, Jasper National Park, Canada. 25,000 people evacuated, 33,048 hectares burned, over $621 million in damages.
Typhoon Gami, Philippines. 39 fatalities, over 4,800,000 people affected, 108,000 displaced, infrastructure losses estimated at $73,400,000.
Typhoon Gami, Taiwan, Formosa. 10 fatalities, 895 injured, 15,758 cases of typhoon damage, power outages affected 871,741 households.
Typhoon Gaimi, Hunan Province, China. At least 48 deaths, 1.2 million affected, 1,000 homes damaged, more than 11,000 people evacuated, and 1,345 roads collapsed. August 2024. Heat waves and wildfires. Balkans and Southern Europe. North Macedonia, Croatia, Albania, Greece, Italy, Serbia, Hungary. At least 2 deaths between July and August. 10,000 hectares burned in Greece alone, thousands were evacuated.
Wildfires, Saskatchewan, Canada. Hundreds of people evacuated, thousands affected. Canada surpasses 5,000 fires over 2024 wildfire season.
Wildfires, Park Fire, California, United States. 173,854 hectares burned between July and August. Over 700 structures destroyed.
Droughts and heat waves, Romania, Serbia and Bosnia. Farmers in grain hub around Bijeljina, Bosnia, estimated about half of their crops have been damaged.
Hailstorm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. More than 35,000 buildings damaged, nearly $2 billion in insured losses.
Floods, Guinea, 2 fatalities and 17,249 affected people.
Floods, Sudan. 173 people killed, 505 injured, 491,100 people affected. About 35,500 homes destroyed and 45,000 homes damaged.
Floods, Korea. Up to 1,500 dead or missing between July and August. 4,100 houses flooded, 3,000 hectares of farmland damaged.
Floods, Bangladesh. 71 deaths, 5,800,000 people affected, over 500,000 displaced in 3,403 evacuation shelters, almost 300,000 hectares of crops impacted.
Floods and landslides, Aulac or Vietnam. 3 people died, 3 injured.
Floods and mudslides, Sichuan and Jiangsu Province, China. At least 18 fatalities, 10 injured, 80,000 people evacuated.
Floods and landslides, Tripura, India. 26 people killed, 1,700,000 people affected, 117,000 displaced.
Floods and landslides, Kyrgyzstan. Almost 500 houses damaged.
Hurricane Debby, United States and Canada. Minimum 9 deaths. At least 6 dams breached in U.S. state of Georgia. Estimated damage and economic loss is $28 billion.
September 2024. Droughts, Brazil. Nearly 60% of the country's land and 745,000 people affected.
Droughts, Peru. 440,000 individuals affected.
Droughts, Ecuador. The lack of rain strained the country's energy capacity, causing blackouts.
Droughts, Southern Africa, Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Worst drought in 100 years during 2024. Approximately 68 million people needed assistance as of September, over 27 million lives affected, 21 million children malnourished.
Drought, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Beleka Lake dried up.
Droughts and heat waves, Greece. Lake Mornos shrinks to lowest level in decades.
Droughts and heat waves, Poland. Vistula River water level dropped to a fraction of its normal depth.
Droughts and heat waves, Romania. Crops devastated, particularly corn and sunflower.
Wildfires, Greece. 2 people died.
Wildfires, Portugal. 7 people killed, more than 50 injured, 62,000 hectares burned.
Wildfires, Ukraine or Urin. 2 people injured, at least 200 evacuated, about 1,200 hectares burned.
Wildfires, Oregon, United States. Over 66,773 hectares burned.
Remington wildfires, Montana, United States. Starting from late August, close to 80,937 hectares burned.
Wildfires, Idaho, United States. 75 fires burned around 128,690 total hectares.
Wildfires, California, United States. 1 fatality, 254 structures damaged, 1,433 structures destroyed, over 404,500 hectares burned from the start of the year.
Wildfires, Sao Paulo, Brazil. 61,572 wildfires, 76 deaths, and 1,523 cases of acute respiratory distress syndrome.
Wildfires, Peru. 10 died, 1,800 people affected. From July to September, 15 died and another 98 were injured. More than 3,000 hectares scorched.
Wildfires, Bolivia. 2 people died, at least 25,000 affected, 7 million hectares burned.
Wildfires, Argentina. 61,000 hectares burned, 450 people evacuated.
Wildfires, Ecuador. 6 injuries, more than 30,000 hectares affected.
Floods, Pakistan. 368 died, over 700 injured, 551,068 affected, and more than 78,608 homes damaged from July through September.
Floods, Bihar, India. At least 45 fatalities, more than 9,500 people affected, and at least 450 houses damaged.
Floods, Assam, Bihar, Gujarat, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, and Uttar Pradesh, India. 6 people died, almost 178,000 displaced, and more than 639,000 affected.
Floods, Gujarat, India. 61 fatalities between August and September, 42 injured people, 38,377 evacuated, and more than 8 million affected.
Floods, Andhra Pradesh, India. 45 fatalities, more than 48,500 people evacuated, over 644,100 affected.
Floods, Telangana, India. 29 fatalities, 7 people injured, approximately 26,700 evacuated, and around 175,500 affected.
Floods, Sudan. 35 people died, 178,460 individuals displaced between June and September.
Floods, Nigeria. Over 300 people dead, 2,504 injured, 1.2 million affected, over 600,000 displaced, over 90,000 homes affected, and 61,000 hectares of farmland submerged.
Floods, Chad. Between July and September, 503 fatalities, 1,700,000 people affected, more than 212,111 houses, and 357,832 hectares of farmland destroyed.
Floods, Guinea. 4 people died and 20,000 families displaced.
Floods, Japan. 9 deaths.
Floods, Mali. 64 deaths, 147 injured, over 187,700 people affected, and 3,686 hectares of crops destroyed.
Floods, Niger. Between June and September, more than 1,100,000 people impacted, 339 fatalities, and another 383 injured.
Floods, Senegal. 2 people died, more than 100 houses severely damaged, 70,920 people affected.
Floods, South Sudan. Over 755,000 people affected and 198,000 displaced.
Floods and landslides, Nepal. 250 fatalities, 178 people injured, 81,000 affected, more than 4,600 houses fully destroyed, and over 5,300 houses damaged.
Typhoon Yagi, Aulak, or Vietnam. 318 deaths, almost 2,000 people injured, 3,600,000 affected, over 240,599 homes damaged, $3.31 billion in damage.
Typhoon Yagi, Philippines. 21 fatalities, 22 injured, and over 71,600 evacuated.
Typhoon Yagi, China. At least 4 fatalities and 95 injured, nearly 1 million people evacuated.
Typhoon Yagi, Myanmar. At least 226 people died, 631,000 people affected, 160,000 houses damaged, 240,000 people displaced, 130,000 animal people killed, and more than 259,000 hectares of agricultural land damaged.
Typhoon Yagi, Thailand. 42 deaths, 14,328 households affected.
Typhoon Yagi, Laos. 7 fatalities, approximately 185,800 people affected, around $7,900,000 in damage.
Typhoon Bebinca, Philippines. 6 people dead, 11 injured, 36,626 displaced, 203,197 affected.
Typhoon Bibinka, China, 2 deaths, more than 414,000 people evacuated.
Hurricane Helene, United States. At least 234 deaths, damage and economic losses estimated to be from 225 to 250 billion US dollars.
Hurricane John, Mexico, 29 people died, 5,000 evacuated.
Storm Boris, Central and Eastern Europe. Once in a century, floods caused deluges and landslides across Austria, the Czech Republic, Croatia, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Poland, Romania and Slovakia. At least 24 dead and billions of dollars in damage, with 3.9 billion US dollars in insured losses in Central Europe.
Lake pollution, England, UK. Serious health risks of toxic water in Whitney Lake, also known as Duck Lake, caused by floods.
Cracks and sinkholes, Iran, formed due to excessive groundwater extraction, which is leading the country's almost 90 million people into a water crisis.
Ever-increasing scientific evidence demonstrates intensive animal person raising is the primary cause of climate change. Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, reminds us there is only one solution, a global shift to the vegan lifestyle.
In the last few years, many unprecedented heat waves, they kill people. And so now many countries are very alarmed right now. They know climate change is truly here, has been here already and continues to be here. Even United Nations declared a climate emergency. It's already raised 1 degree or 1.5 degrees. And it's already like that. Imagine if 2 degrees more, 3 degrees, 4, 5, we are finito. The children of our later generations will be really hard hit. If any parents who really love their children and their grandchildren, they should be vegan by now. That's the fastest way.
For more details, please visit suprememastertv.com/SOS.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free for download at crisistopeace.org.